Alright guys, so this is the Cat 390 that I am selling. A few of you had questions, so I'm just making a video so we all know what this is. So this is the radio. It's got these red knobs that control the movement of the tracks. So if you go forward on both of them, it'll go forward. If you go reverse on both of them, it'll go reverse. And then this knob right here is the actual speed control for the tracks to slow it down or speed it up. So that's that. The rest of the stick movements are for the bucket, the swing. Basically, it's set up exactly how a real Caterpillar joysticks are set up. So it's the SAE joystick movements, I believe that's what it is. We got the Cat 390. It's full hydraulic. You got the hydraulics in there. You got 3 servos. You lift this up, and this is where the battery goes in. The battery gets connected to these right there, 12-volt battery. And there is a switch. Get to the other side. There's a switch right down here where my finger is. Well, I won't be able to see it, but there is a switch that turns on and off right down here. First things first is there's this screw. Well, there you go. There's a screw that this is where you fill up the hydraulic oil, and you always want to leave it open when you're running the hydraulics, so it'll bleed out, not bleed out, but so that there won't be air pressure inside. So you always want to unscrew this before you start your hydraulic pumps, and then screw it back on when you're done for the day so that it won't get contaminated or anything like that. This line is the fill line of where you want the hydraulic fluid to be. So all this basically is the hydraulic tank. You got a filter there. You got your valves. You got 3 full-size servos. And you got the swing motor that's geared reductioned. And then you got the hoses going straight out to these. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the battery. The battery, you're supposed to put it in like this inside, but you got to be careful. It's kind of tricky. It's pretty tight. You just have to be really careful putting it in so that these metal tabs, the positive and negative, don't touch the inside of the frame. So just to make it simple and quick, I'm just going to put it in. I'm just going to drop it in like this. The negative goes to the negative, and I just basically like that, and just it's tight, doesn't come out. Again, the positive to the positive, and then once that's connected, you always want to make sure your radio's on. That's always a first. And then we can just come down here. You can't see it, but I'm going to switch it on. And then now it's switched on. So now we can swing it to the left. We can swing it to the right. We can move the sticks forward and reverse. And then I wouldn't put too much pressure on the motors. The motors are, well, this is the gears inside, but the motor's just behind these. If I can flip it around, I won't be able to see it, but the motor's inside here. They're not that big, they're not that powerful, so I don't want to strain it too much. It's got belt tension, it's got a tensioner. You can see the front wheel moving up and down. So it's tensioned, so it's got a pretty good tension on it. You got rollers. You got a pump in there, a pressure gauge, which goes up to 700 psi, but it's set to run at 500 psi right now. So it's running at 500 psi. So here's how it goes. So you see this switch on this radio. You switch it on, it turns the pump on. You can see it. It's close to 500. And then up stick, curl bucket, the stick up, stick down, and then curl bucket, uncurl bucket. I'm going to turn the pump off real quick, and then you can see it's proportional, so you can go nice and slow with it, or you can speed it up. This is top speed right here, spinning. I'm going to slow it down. That's proportional. As well as, like I said, the tracks are proportional too by adjusting this. So if you want to make it nice and slow, you can let me try to do this. You can do it slower, or you can speed it up, and vice versa. You can slow it down. I am selling it. I just don't have the time to play with it. I have some rails that I've started putting on. Made some rails to make it more scale-like, and I wanted to put a a catwalk over here, which the real one has. The hydraulics is good. As you can see, it's pretty strong. And that's about it. I bought it from a guy who he's friends with the owner or the company that actually makes these. Unfortunately, I do not know who makes it. I have no idea. I know it sounds kind of foolish for me not to know, but I really don't. I just bought it secondhand from a guy who he's Chinese, so it's definitely a Chinese brand, and that's basically where I got it from. Secondhand, but it was new, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's really detailed. I've seen only the Wedeco cat excavator in person. I haven't seen any other ones, and I can honestly say this looks a lot better than the Wedeco's the excavator that they have. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking and recording at the same time. As you can see, the Wedeco's, not this one, but the Wedeco comes out to like almost down here. This part is like, a lot more thicker, but this is a lot more scale. They did a really good job on this thing. Only thing I would recommend to change are these little tiny wires. You can't really see it. I hope it's not focusing. There it is. See these wires? I would change these wires out. They're really thin, and they become brittle after a while from being exposed to hydraulic fluid. But otherwise, it works pretty good, and it weighs close to 45 pounds. So that's about it. Hope I answered a lot of the questions. Thanks for watching.